Hello, everyone. Welcome back or welcome to Astrology with Georgie. I'm excited to share this video with you all today. So today we are going to be exploring Celine Dion's natal chart. We're going to be having a look at her placements, which have obviously helped her become so famous, but also want to take a look at her medical condition as well, simply because I watched her documentary last night. It really touched me. She is one of my all-time idols. She features heavily in the karaoke sessions in our household. She's an incredible superstar. And obviously, what's happened to her with being diagnosed with stiff person syndrome, it's very, very heartbreaking. I found it really difficult to watch last night. It's so sad, but we can see her condition in her natal chart. So I wanted to come on and I wanted to share this with you, share the information with you. What makes somebody so famous? But then, what gives somebody such an incredible voice? But then, what gives somebody, such an awful disease at the same time? And so, we're going to explore her natal chart. This is for educational purposes only. I'm not making light of the situation. I don't mean to offend anyone here. This is purely for astrological education. I would also like to point out that I am not a medical astrologer. Okay, I know a little bit about medical astrology, but I am not a medical astrologer. Please don't take any medical advice from this video whatsoever. This is just for entertainment purposes only, shall we say. So before we get into it, if you don't subscribe, please subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future content from me. And if you get some value from this, please comment, please give it a like, because this helps the algorithm and it helps the channel grow, and I really appreciate it. So thank you so much for being here, and let's get into the video. Okay, so first of all, let me see if I can make this smaller because I think I'm in the way a bit, aren't I? There we go. So this is Celine Dion's natal chart. It's an A-rated chart, which is pretty good. We can presume that the details around this chart are correct. Ideally, we want an AA rating, but this is an A rating, the best that I could find. So let's just presume that these details are correct, and we'll go with that. Now, Celine Dion was a fabulous woman, and if you watch the documentary I Am Celine, I Am Celine Dion, it's on Amazon at the moment, possibly other channels. She really is the epitome of a Leo rising. So her rising sign is in Leo. This is somebody that likes to shine, likes to be on stage, likes to be the center of attention, has a need to be the center of attention. And if you watch the documentary, or if you know anything about her and you've watched her on TV or anything in the past, you can just see what a fabulous person she is. She's so kind of just fabulous. Like the outfits she wears, the way she presents herself, like she is a queen. She is a queen. And when I looked at her chart and saw that she was a Leo rising, I was like, oh my God, she is a queen. That is the only way to describe her. She's incredible, extremely confident. You can feel the fire. So she's Aries sun, Aries moon. You can literally feel the fire, Leo rising. There's a lot of fire within her. And this is why she's so driven. The Leo rising part is why she loves to be on stage. She has the need to be a center of attention, to have this recognition. And unfortunately, because of this disease that she's been diagnosed with, she actually is really, really struggling and upset that she can't sing anymore. She still wants to sing. She's in her 50s now, but she still wants to perform. It's who she is. And this is the Leo rising. This is, wanting to be on stage, needing to be on stage, needing that recognition. And it just seems really cruel that this is being taken away from her with this debilitating disease, which is affecting her voice. Now, she has her chart rule of the sun in the ninth house. She's traveled the world. She has traveled the world doing what she loves, doing what she does with her voice. Sun in the ninth house is it's a very strong connection to morals and beliefs. It's somebody that loves freedom, adventure. The ninth house is naturally ruled by Sagittarius. So this is somebody that seeks to explore the world through adventure, because this is her chart. The sun is her chart ruler. So this is the direction of her life, and the direction of her life is being taken towards exploring the world. We know that this is through her career. Her MC does also fall in the ninth house. Why is that not showing on this chart? Okay, for some reason that's not showing on here. I'm trying to practice this new software, this solar fire stuff, and honestly, guys, I am like a dinosaur with this. I need to add the MC on there. Basically, her MC is in the ninth house. So a lot of emphasis on the Aries chart of her house. Aries are very driven, very determined, very competitive. You know, she is considered one of the best singers in the world. In my opinion, she is the best singer in the world. She's always been a huge idol of mine. Her voice is incredible. But the Aries energy, it's courageous, it's bold, it's competitive, and it's stamina. And you know, she's still going, she still wants to sing even though she's in her 50s. She hasn't given up. She's been singing her entire life. Ever since she was a child, she's been singing. Moon in the ninth house as well. And what's interesting is that her moon is at a critical degree, moon at critical 29 degrees. So on the one hand, you know, the moon represents the public. She is obviously incredibly famous. 29th degree is extreme, so sometimes it can go bad, sometimes it can go good. For her, you know, being in the ninth house, reaching the ninth house is the higher mind, and reaching far out into the world. And her moon being there, she has reached the public, you know, across the world. She is a global superstar, and that's what I see when that's what I think of when I see the moon in the 29th degree. This is also a critical degree in terms of it can represent crisis, which could be playing a part in stuff that she's gone through in terms of losing her husband a few years back, and then obviously now what she's going through with her health. That could be playing a part, the 29th degree, but it also does point towards her fame. We see a lot of celebrities with 29-degree planets. It's a karmic degree, it's a completion of a cycle. And it can, yeah, it just shows up a lot in celebrity charts. So she has her Venus, which rules the voice, conjunct Mercury, which rules communication in Pisces. So Pisces is the sign of creativity. And I just think this is beautiful. This is why, so Venus in Pisces is exalted. Venus loves to be in Pisces because it can be, it can have unconditional love, but she's using this in a creative way. She's hugely creative. Venus conjunct Mercury, speaking, communication in Pisces. This is why she's so creative with her voice. Now, what's interesting about this is that it is in the 8th house of transformation and death. And I think this is playing a part of her illness, what she's going through at the moment, and obviously what she's been through with losing her husband. But I'm going to come on to that in a minute. I just wanted to point out that these two planets here together in Pisces are what leads to her creativity. Pisces, so Mercury in Pisces is a very soft voice. It's soft, it's creative, it's flowing, it's water. And this conjunction here is opposing Pluto, and widely Uranus as well. Now, these two planets here are in her second house of finances. So Pluto in the second house is potential to become rich. It can go either way. So she, maybe when she was younger, she might have experienced a lot of transformations around her finances and her self-worth. But because it's opposing these two planets. Now, an opposition is a tense aspect, but it can be worked with. And I think this is a huge part of how she's become famous. So Pluto is power. Mercury rules the voice, it rules communication, and it rules the mind. But when you have planets connected to Pluto, you have that potential for power, for transforming. And with the opposition, it usually comes between your relationships with others. So she is providing the creativity with her voice, and the audience are providing her with the finances. So this is her financial houses as well. 8th house is other people's money. Venus rules money. Venus also rules her 3rd house of communication, of connection. Venus rules the throat, but Gemini, which naturally rules this house, and Mercury is about connecting to others, connecting to the audience, the spoken word. And her part of fortune is here as well, where she finds her luck. And so this house being ruled by Venus, again, it's in the house of other people's finances. So you've got this connection here with her financial houses. You've got Pluto, which is potential. You have got Uranus, which is unexpected events, but Uranus is also breakthroughs, it's innovation, and it is doing things differently. And you know, she's an icon. She has an iconic voice. And I think that's where the Uranus is showing up here, is the revolutionary. That's what she is. She's revolutionary. She's iconic. And yes, they're obviously very, very rich. Money, other people, connected to her voice. So those are the creative aspects. She also has Mars in her 10th house of career. This is her energy. So Mars is ruling her sun and her moon, because her sun and her moon are in Aries. Mars is ruling this and taking it into her 10th house of career. Obviously, her career has been incredible. Mars and the moon are also trining Jupiter. Jupiter is the planet of luck. She's born in the day. So for her, her biggest blessing planet is Jupiter in the first house. And her biggest challenging planet is Mars, but I'll come on to that. So with Jupiter trining, positive aspect, Mars and the moon, this is about her having enough energy. This is about her being popular. This is about her being well liked. The moon is the public. Jupiter is expansion and luck and opportunity. And the moon trining Jupiter is a really harmonious aspect of popularity, basically popularity, charming, just being well liked. And these planets being up here at the highest point of her chart, you know, this is her public image. It's up here for the world to see. Mars in the 10th house, motivation towards her career. Now, those are her main kind of benefiting planets, should we say, towards her creativity and her success. And now I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what's wrong with her chart and potentials for things to go wrong. And then we're going to go on to the transits and see exactly what was going on. So first of all, when you're looking at a chart in general, you can kind of look at conditions of planets. So certain planets do well in certain signs. So for example, we've got Venus in Pisces. Venus is exalted in Pisces. Brilliant. Now you've got Mercury, which is in detriment in Pisces, because Mercury rules Virgo. It's happy in Virgo. When it's in Pisces, it's in detriment. So when we think about medical astrology, when a planet is in detriment, it's not very useful. Okay. And it's in the 8th house of transformation. So the 8th house is a crisis house. It is naturally ruled by Scorpio. It's about transformations. It's linked to death. It's linked to psychology, transformation. Now, we're going to come on to this in a second. I'm just going to talk about the other planets. So the sun is happy in Aries. Brilliant. Now Saturn, which is a malefic, the greater malefic, is in Aries. Now Saturn is exalted in Libra. This is where Saturn is happiest, but when it's in Aries, it is in its fall. This is not a good position for Saturn, okay? And this is where the condition of planets becomes really, really important, because the more planets that you have that are in a bad condition, the more potential you have for things to be going wrong in your life, because planets aren't strong enough to pull you through the hard times, or things will happen. And the reason they're happening is because you've got weakened planets. Her Mars, the other malefic, and the biggest malefic for her being a day chart, is in Taurus. Mars rules Scorpio. It doesn't perform well in Taurus. Now, yes, in terms of her energy and her career, she's fantastic. We don't know what her energy is like behind the scenes in terms of her motivation. She's probably a slow burner. She's probably she probably takes her time with things. She's probably very fixed in that sense, very stubborn. But when we're thinking about medical astrology, Mars is not in a good place here because it's in Taurus, it's in detriment. So you've got both malefics in signs that they're not performing well in, and you've got Mercury in fall as well, which is not useful. Okay, so that's just what we're going to remember. Now, when we're looking at the condition of her health, we're going to the 6th house because this is her health. Now, she hasn't got any planets in her 6th house. So we're going to look at what rules this. So this is Capricorn, Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. Saturn is detriment in Aries. Okay, so this is something that we need to remember. Now, then you want to look at, so when a planet is over in a house, you then need to look at who's in charge of this house for extra information. Mars is in charge of this house because it's in Aries. Mars is also detriment. Okay. And it is opposing Juno as well. Juno is like a secret benefic, but in this case, not being very helpful. So you've got the ruler of her sixth house of health, detrimented. The ruler of where her sixth house of health ruler is, also detrimented. So you've got a double whammy here of these planets not being supported. So that's what we're going to remember when we move to the transit chart. If I can find it. No, that's not what we want. Okay, so we're going to go to transits. So first of all, I wanted to, okay, hold on. We need to do the bio-will. One sec. So these are the transits for when her husband died. So her husband died in 2016, obviously a really tragic event. I do think he was older than her from what I know. But, you know, really tragic. Their children were not very old at all. They've got twins. I don't know if she's got any other children, but I know she's got twins. So let's have a look at the transits. Now this, for me, this is where this eighth house stuff comes in, because when you have planets in the eighth house, it can point towards transformations throughout your life. It's the house of crisis of transformation. It's a similar when you've got Scorpio energy, Scorpio planet, Scorpio rising. You're going to be going through transformations throughout your life. Now, as you can see, when because this is also the eighth house of death, right? So when her husband died, she's got because her natal Chiron is here. Chiron is the wound that can't be healed in her eighth house of death. So one would presume that this is a wound that cannot be healed around her own transformation, around her own psychology, around secrets in a world, maybe things that aren't being spoken, but there's a wound here. Okay, now transiting Chiron, she's about to have a Chiron return. This is at 17 degrees. It's not quite, it's a bit more than 10 degrees away, but in this sense, I think we can presume this is involved. Chiron in Pisces as well is also really painful. Pisces can point towards pain, a lot of pain and suffering. So her transiting Chiron, coming up for a Chiron return, it's sitting on her Mercury, which is her mind, her thought processes. And we've also got Neptune here as well, which is confusion. So I actually don't know. I actually don't know what happened to her husband. I just know that he died. But I just think this is interesting that she's going through these eighth house transits, activating her natal eighth house transits when her husband died. She has also got Uranus conjunct Saturn. That's not an easy transit as well. This is, you know, Saturn is your goals, your ambitions, and Uranus is shaking things up. So perhaps how she thought her life was going, or where she thought her life was going, has just suddenly taken a real whack from Uranus conjoining her Saturn. You know, Saturn being, you know, where we take responsibility, suddenly she's having to become responsible for her children on her own, which is very sad. She's also having, so Pluto is at 15 degrees. She's having a Pluto squaring Saturn transit as well. So she's having some difficult stuff going on here. Now, worth noting, Pluto at this point is in her sixth house of health. We don't know anything about her health at this point, but she's starting to come into this square with Pluto squaring Saturn. Pluto being the planet of transformation, bringing everything to the surface. Saturn being your goals, your ambitions, where you take responsibility, and square being the tense aspect. So again, it's her goals, it's how responsible she is, being really shaken up, and it's like having the rug pulled out from underneath you. This is what I see Pluto transits as, and that's exactly what's happened with her husband dying. She has also got Saturn in the fifth house being love and romance, squaring her squaring her natal Venus in the 8th house. Like you just can't make this up. So, you know, natal Venus, her love planet in the 8th house, being squared by Saturn, the biggest malefic. It's so sad. But this is when her husband died. Now we're going to move on to the other. No, that's the same. Okay, so this is the event of, I mean, we don't have the exact date. So basically, she cancelled one of her tours in 2021. It wasn't until 2022 that she announced that she had stiff person syndrome, which is a neurological condition that affects, obviously, it's caused in the mind, but it affects your muscles. So your muscles tighten and contract. So she has muscle spasms, and this is affecting her throat because her throat is contracting and spasming. Awful. Poor woman. If you watch the documentary, like, just be prepared. It's so sad. Now, I want to share the chart with you. So like I said, we don't have the exact date. I just know sometime in July, she would have been experiencing the symptoms. She would have found out, and then she didn't announce it until 2022 that what was actually wrong with her. Now, Pluto in the 6th house of her health. This is obviously bringing huge transformations. So she's also got Saturn, 7th house of one-on-one relationships. So this is, you know, her clients, reaching out to her audience. Restrictions here. She had to cancel her tour. Now, she has got, so again, we're going back to this 8th house stuff because it's all about her own transformation. So she's got Neptune now on her Chiron. So it's this pain and suffering again with Neptune on her Chiron. She's also got transiting Chiron conjunct her natal Saturn. Remember that her natal Saturn, which is debilitated, is the ruler of this planet, of this house. So Saturn is the ruler of her 6th house of health. It's being conjunct by Chiron, and this is why her health. So basically, natally, we can see her health. There was potential for something to happen. That's what I will say. When you've got, so because of the debilitated planets, there's potential for things to go wrong. And then the transits are coming along and they're activating this. So Chiron, the wounded healer, the vulnerability, the sensitivity is conjunct her Saturn, and her Saturn being the ruler of her 6th house of health, but also being her goals and her responsibilities are under pressure here, and she's going to be feeling vulnerable with this, and it's all connected back to her health. Now, Pluto's transit through her 6th house of health has been going on for years. We don't know when her symptoms first started. That's what I will say, but Pluto would have been here for a long time. She's also got, Pluto is squaring her natal moon and her natal Mars. Pluto on the moon is hard. It is bringing up all of your subconscious fears. It's bringing up everything. It's bringing up everything. It's pulling the rug out from underneath you. The moon is your emotions. So under this transit, you're going to be feeling emotional. You're going to be feeling emotionally insecure. Things that are buried. So basically her beliefs, because the 9th house is your beliefs. It's probably questioning her beliefs about everything are being questioned under this Pluto square. And Pluto square Mars is not very nice as well. And remember that Mars is your, Mars is debilitated as well. So again, we've got the square, but it's the condition of the planets in the first place that are not helping her cause. Pluto square Mars is more about power struggles. So this is her trying to fight this off. This is her thinking, no, remember Mars is ruling her Saturn. This is her thinking, you know, no, I don't want to give up. What is going on? There's going to be a fight against this, a fight against herself, a fight against her health. But Pluto's going to win for a little while, at least, while she takes a step back. Now, these are the main transits. I think I've kind of mentioned the main things going on. I'm not going to do her progress chart today because we're already at 24 minutes, but there might be some stuff in her progress chart. But I just thought that this is so interesting. You can see the transits coming along, but the most important part of this is that already in her natal chart, some of her planets are debilitated. if you have got natal planets in the 6th house, a lot of people worry when they have natal planets in the 6th house because they think, oh no, I've got something in my 6th house, it means I'm going to get ill. It's really about the condition of those planets and the condition of the ruler of that house that you want to be paying more attention to, rather than whether you've got a planet in the 6th house. It's the condition. Are they being supported? Are they under pressure? Are they in signs that they don't work very well in? Because that's going to tell you more of a story around what's going on. Like I said, I'm not a medical astrologer, so please don't ask me any personal questions about your health, but it's so interesting to delineate this chart, and I hope that's been really helpful for people that are learning about astrology. Hopefully, if you are new, I didn't speak too fast or say anything that was confusing to you. If you do have any questions about things that I've mentioned or things in this chart, please let me know in the comments and I will get back to you. If you have any of your own input, then fantastic. Please feel free to put input in, because it helps other people learn. It helps me learn. Or if you've got your own stories around similar transits, then also do let me know. If you got value from this video, please give it a thumbs up. Really appreciate it. And I'll see you in the next one.